Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Julia. I am a senior gold ambassador with Plexus, and I have been using Plexus since January of 2022. So it doesn't, it feels like I've been on Plexus longer than I think it actually has been, but it has been an amazing journey. And I am here tonight to kind of share my story with you. And my sweet, amazing friend Ashley is here with me to share her story. She's momming it right now. She's headed home from a parent meeting. So we're multitaskers, that's just how we live life. But I wanted to welcome you all. I'm super excited for you to be here. A little bit of background on myself. I am a nurse. I've worked as a nurse for 23 years in the critical care setting at the hospital. And I went into nursing because I absolutely, oh, let's see here. Sandra said she can't hear me. Can the rest of you guys hear me? Are you able to hear me? Okay. Sandra, you might try on your phone and see if the audio is on Bluetooth. I know sometimes mine pops on Bluetooth and then I can't hear. So if all else fails and if anybody else has a hard time hearing, maybe go out and come back in and see if that helps. But I went, so I guess COVID really is what propelled me into Plexus unknowingly. As most everybody knows, the hospital was a really rough setting during that time. And I found myself working a lot of hours to help out. And I was tired and worn out, and I was working a lot of nights, which was abnormal for me. And it just got to be a lot. And as much as I loved what I was doing, I was getting very burnt out. I still wanted to serve people and I still wanted to take care of people, but I really hit a wall at one point because I actually reached out to the physicians that were over our unit and had a sit down conversation with them and said, we had a unit that had a triage area, which is like a kind of like an ER, a small ER for our population. And all of our patients were all COVID patients, and they weren't really sick COVID patients. They were patients that had colds that were coming to the hospital. And the reason was because their doctors wouldn't see them in the office. And so they were being shipped to us, but they were coming to us for information. They wanted education. They wanted to know what they could do at home to take care of themselves. And so I reached out to two of my doctors on the unit and I said, our patients need us to give them education on how to take care of their bodies. They need to know that, they can do things at home and when to come into the hospital. So they're not constantly coming into the hospital. And when I said that, my doctor said, well, what would you suggest? What would you put? Because I asked about putting it like education material and giving them educational material. And I will never forget this because it just really made me realize the sadness of our medical system. I said, well, I would put that our patients need to be hydrated, that they need to be moving, that if they're sick, they can take certain medications. They can take vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, things to help boost their immune system. And the moment I started talking about supplements and vitamins, the doctor just literally put her hand up and she said, we can't do that. There's never been any proof that any of that helps. And I was just like, what? Like, as a nurse, I was dumbfounded because that was when I went into nursing, I knew that the body was created to do amazing things. I mean, we're taught about how amazing the body is. And for her to say that vitamins and supplements from the earth don't help and don't work, and that we can't tell patients that, like, literally at that point in time, she literally dropped everything I suggested. We never put out educational information. We literally just let patients keep coming in asking for help, and we sent them home saying they're fine. And it was just a terrible cycle. And at that moment, I remember thinking, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not what I went in to nursing to do, because nurses and medical professionals are here to help people, and that's not what we're doing anymore. And I remember being very frustrated. And at that point in time, Cassie had actually put out, Cassie, let me just say, has she has tried to educate me about gut health for 6 years prior to my agreeing to listen. And I always just thought of it because I had heard of the pink drink and the slim, and I had thought of it as a weight loss gimmick. And so I was very stubborn, and I even ghosted her a few times. And eventually she posted something about an energy challenge. And I was like, I remember thinking at that point, I was super tired. I had anxiety, which I had never had before in my life. I didn't even realize it was anxiety, honestly, at the time. But I was having heartburn really bad, which I had had for years. But it had literally been, I don't know, I had been taking medication for it for about 8 years at that point. And I was starting to get to the point where I needed it twice a day. And so that was a really big wake up call for me that I was doing something. And I knew a lot of it. I was drinking a lot of energy drinks because I was working late at night. I needed extra help during the next day to try to get energy. And so I was doing energy drinks and I was literally tearing apart my insides. And I knew what I was doing. And that's why when Cassie put out the energy challenge, I was like, Joel, if we're going to take energy drinks, Joel's my husband, I said, we might as well at least try something that we know is beneficial to us, because at least if it's going to be healthy, that's better than doing this. And maybe it will help my heartburn, you know? And so I think at that point, he was just like, you know, if you'll just keep working, you can do whatever you want. Because he knew that I didn't want to do it anymore. And I think he was just like, whatever you want, we can give it a try. And I knew at that point, if I was going to do it, I was going to have to do it and try to have people join me, because I couldn't afford even $50 a month to add to my budget, not to mention anything more than that. So I took the energy challenge, and within 3 days, I could tell a huge difference. It was powerful for me. And so I immediately was like, I'm in, let's do this. And so initially I started out with the energy stuff. Cassie talked me into coming to a Super Saturday. I'll say she tricked me into coming into a Super Saturday event, but I'm so grateful because that truly opened my eyes to really what gut health was. And it was powerful to be there. I heard Shara's story about her ulcerative colitis. I heard Hannah's story about how her daughter, who had had bowel issues her entire life as a newborn, being healed from all of those things. Like all these things in medicine that we're told don't actually get healed, that they have to take medication for the rest of their lives. All those things I was hearing, I was like, oh my gosh, this actually works. So I started digging into gut health in myself. And so along those lines, as I started to share, I really started to just push it out there because I started to see the light and realize how powerful it was. And I was incredibly blessed. Within the first 3 months, I literally went senior silver within the first 3 months. I double ranked in I think it was my third month, maybe. And I just couldn't help myself because as a nurse, it's like I had found the fountain of youth and I knew I could actually help people. And so I'm super pumped because even to this day, I am almost to the point where I am recouping my own nursing income. So I am very excited that hopefully by the end of this month, I will be, not this month. Well, I mean, that'd be great. I'll take the end of the month. But by the end of this year, my goal is to actually be quitting my job and to be moving into doing Plexus and health coaching on a regular basis. So I will introduce Ashley here and let her also share her story with you. She is this incredible dear friend of mine who is also a nurse. So I'm super pumped for you guys to hear her story and hear how her heart had changed towards Plexus too. So go ahead, Ash.
Hey, my name's Ashley. I have known Julia for 100 years, it feels like, since our Taylor and Riley were babies. Yeah. So we have always worked out together and I've always been health minded. She started talking to me about Plexus back in volleyball season last fall because I was having so much pain that doctors could not figure it out. I'm going to shut my door because I have 8 children and 3 dogs, and they do not cooperate with Zoom calls. So I was having so much pain. I'd had all this stupid blood work. I'd had x-rays, nobody could figure it out. And she started talking to me about plexus and how, because I was telling her the doctors just keep telling me I have all this inflammation, but nothing that I try helps. And so she was talking to me about just the supplements and how that helps with inflammation. So I'm like, I'm desperate. I don't think it's going to work, but let's try it. And so I started taking them October, November. And I really did. I started it for the pain, but what I didn't tell her is I had all these GI issues that for years I would always joke with my husband that I should see a GI doctor because I thought for sure I had Crohn's or something. And that was the first thing I noticed, that all my GI issues got better. I was no longer having to run to the restroom like the minute I ate. And I just felt overall a whole lot better. And sorry, I've got kids everywhere. And I had more energy. Usually I drink a pot or two of coffee a day, and I was able to just using the triplex. Really, I started with the reset, and then I just was on triplex. I didn't do anything else, and had a lot more energy, felt a lot better. And now that I went to a convention this summer with Julia and Cassie and the crew, and it was just amazing. It really opened up my eyes to the other products because, like I said, hey guys, I've only been on triplex. So now I've started a few more different products that are helping with my hormones and stuff. And so that's got me feeling even a whole lot better. I've gone off, even my endocrinologist. It's funny, I was last year I had gained like 30 to 40 pounds, and that was one of the other things the doctors like could not figure out. Hey, I'm on Zoom and you're naked, so that's probably not good. And yeah, anyone want a naked 5-year-old? And so I got sent to an endocrinologist because my PCP had done all this blood work. Like nobody could figure out what was going on, like why I was gaining this weight, because I've always been active. Running, just cardio. I was even doing weights, but I kind of backed off on weights because of my pain. And so I thought, well, maybe that was my weight gain, but the endocrinologist is like, no, it's not. And so he had me on actual like weight loss meds, and they weren't even doing anything for me. I wasn't losing any weight. And actually I was still taking them when I was in Nashville, and Julia's like, get off of those. So I took myself off of them, and I actually felt so much better even going off of those because everybody's in my room. They would make me throw up because I've always had, like I said, like just stomach issues. And so when I noticed when I was taking the prescription meds, like I would throw up. And so I went off of those, and I saw my endocrinologist recently, and I told him, and he's like, well, you've lost this much weight. And I was like, yeah, I lost that weight like after I stopped taking these meds. I was like, not because of the meds. And he's like, well, what are you doing? And so I started telling him about plexus, and he's all like, well, hey, he's like, there's so much stuff about gut health right now. If that's working for you and you're seeing this type of results and you're feeling good, and he's all like, you have my blessing. Like you can go off these meds and just do the plexus. And he's like, I'll see you again in 6 months. We'll do another more lab work. And so it was just like, hey, I can get the blessing of my doctor, and I'm feeling a whole lot better without prescription meds. And so I'm just feel overall so much better just taking just the supplements, because I've never been, even for a medical provider, because I'm a nurse too. I'm kind of anti-meds, which I probably can't say, but I am one of the people, I'd rather get to the root of the problem and not have to depend on a pill, which I know I still take my depression pills, and I'm sure Julia will get me off of those. And will be feeling even 100% better. So that's kind of my story. I'm excited to start sharing it with people. I just, my friend, one of my good friends just signed on. And so she picked up her products today, and I'm just really excited to have someone to share my journey with and watch her journey and how she's going to grow and see what it does for her. And I love hearing everybody else's journeys and just the testimonies, because I was very skeptical because I've been on other supplements with other companies because I've had lots of different friends do stuff over the several years. And so I was very like, when Julia talked to me about it, I'm like, kind of like what she said, I thought it was kind of just a weight loss thing. And I'm like, this isn't really what I am going, like, I'm not going to see much benefit from it. And I'm like, why? I like, I'll do it because I love Julia, but the first chance I get, I'm going to cancel. And so
I love your transparency. I love it. But I think that's so important though. It is. It's true.
Yeah.
Because really a lot of us go into it thinking that this isn't going to work because we've tried a lot of things. And I think that's something that I've really learned. One of the biggest things I love about Plexus is the integrity that the company has. They have integrity in their products. They have integrity in their medical board that they utilize to help create the products. They do testing. That was huge for me when I realized, because a lot of people are really, some of them don't like the idea that they're not FDA approved, but what they don't understand is that no supplementation is FDA approved. Even prenatal vitamins are not FDA approved, but your doctor tells you to take them. You know what I mean? And so you have to understand that they can't approve them because they don't bring them money. And not to say that that's, I mean, I'm not talking about that. We all know that. But the reason they don't is because they don't bring them money. So they're not going to waste their money putting them out to people to trial them. And so that is a big reason why no, you won't find supplements that are FDA approved. And so knowing that they actually put in effort to hiring their own groups of people to do trials with the supplements before they release them is huge. And as a medical professional, I think that speaks a lot to the character of the company. The other beautiful thing that I want to make sure and mention for anybody that's on here that hasn't started their products yet, or that may be just thinking about the products, is the fact that you have a 60-day money back guarantee. Not very many companies will do that. First of all, let me tell you, they're not magic pills. They don't work overnight. Some people, for me, they worked within 3 days, but that was just the energy stuff. That wasn't the gut health stuff. When you're talking about gut health, you are talking about internally healing, and then externally, you will start to feel that. But that literally can take a couple months to even up to a year before you see certain symptoms resolve. So it's not something that's going to be a really huge quick fix. So I just want to make sure and preface that. But the company does offer a 60-day money back guarantee, which is a huge blessing. That gives you 2 full months to try the supplements, get through a little bit of detox, because all of our bodies have to do that. Whenever you are trying to heal, you have to get rid of the bad stuff. It's like a garden. I was just using this example with a friend of mine today. I said, you have a garden. You want to feed it. You want to plant your seeds. And then when those seeds starts coming up, you have weeds come up. You have to go through and weed it. If you don't clear out the weeds, your plants will get eaten out by the weeds. I had to make my kids do that just the other day because they were all couldn't get along together. School hadn't started yet. So I sent them out to the garden to weed my garden because my plants were not blooming because they couldn't get any sun. So if you think of your body like that, the gut microbiome is attached to so many different diagnoses. You have blood sugar issues, hormone issues, anxiety, depression. The vagus nerve goes directly down into your gut microbiome and is directly connected to that. And so you have so many different issues that if you struggle with those issues, these products get to the root of your problem. So here's something that I would like to challenge you on tonight. As a medical professional and now being into gut profession for a good year and a half, I would like to challenge you to think of if you're on medications, think of those medications. What were to happen if you were to come off of those medications? Would your problems be fixed, or would you be back in the same problem that you have had for years? Okay. Most of the time, if you're not directly addressing the issue, the root cause of your issue, you're going to be back in the same problem, and you're probably going to be worse off if you come off of your medications. I have helped more people. Has been the biggest blessing of my life over the last year and a half. And please hear me. I'm being very transparent here. I have worked in the hospital for years, and I help people get better with medications, but we send them home on medications that they typically don't come off of because we haven't fixed the root problem. With Plexus over the last year and a half, I have been able to see people come off of diabetes medicine. I have been able to see people decrease their thyroid medicine. I have seen people come off of weight loss medicine, like anxiety, depression medication, all of these things. And it's because we're addressing the root. If you are skeptical at all, I challenge you. You have 60 days where you really have nothing to lose. It could be the one thing you've been praying for to feel better. I feel like most every person that I talk to that express to me how frustrated they are with their healthcare and all those different things typically have one thing in common, and it's because they feel okay, but they don't feel great, and it's not getting better. At some point, they hit a plateau with their physicians, and their physicians either no longer are answering their questions or making them feel like they get their questions answered, or no longer able to make them feel better. And they literally have told them that it's something they have to get used to. And I want to tell you 100% that's a lie. That is a lie. Not that your doctor's trying to lie to you, but because they don't know any better, unfortunately. That is something that I have learned over the last many years of working with physicians, is they get very little education in nutrition in the human body than they do medication and that sort of thing. So they're educated on medication. They're not educated on nutrition. And so they really don't know a whole lot better to tell you. So think about whenever you are looking at medications and you're asking yourself, how many medicines do I take? What if you could try bettering your gut health for a couple months? Will you come off of medications during a couple months? Maybe, maybe not. But I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that you will feel better. And if you give it long enough and you trust the process and you trust your body to be and do the things it was created to do, you will eventually probably come off of some of your medications, if not all of them. So I am so grateful that you guys popped on tonight. I hope this was really helpful for you. Please connect with the person who invited you. Let them answer your questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time to do a whole lot of questions on these calls, but that's what your friends are for. Your friends have reached out to you because they love you and they have found something that's been a huge blessing for them. So allow them to share that with you. Allow them to answer any questions you have. And if they can't find those answers, they'll find somebody who can find those answers, because we want to help you. That's one of our biggest goals here with Plexus, with our team, is that our heart is to help people change their lives and to thrive in life like God has designed us to do. And Plexus has given us an amazing platform to do that. With my income side of this, if you are struggling right now, we live in a world right now where money is hard. Let's just be completely honest. If a couple $100 would be a blessing to you on a monthly basis, and you also would like to feel better, this is a perfect company to give that shot to, because you literally could easily share this with 3 or 4 people and be able to get your products paid for. And then if you share with 3 or 4 more people or help them share with people, you could easily make a couple $100 extra a month to go towards your groceries, your house bills, whatever it is that you're needing help with. It could be the biggest blessing of your life, and you didn't even know it was sitting right here in front of you. So I just want to invite you to that. If I didn't, I would be amiss, because it has definitely been a life changer for our family. And I know many people on here that it's been a game changer for too. So thank you so much for your time and your patience. I appreciate you being patient with me as I was getting on here. And I hope you guys have an amazing and blessed night tonight. Thank you, Ashley, for sharing with me tonight. I appreciate you. I'm so blessed by you, my friend. All right, guys, we will see you later. Have a good night.